The smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon candles filled my mom's dining room, thick and almost suffocating. Thanksgiving had always been her stage. The polished silverware, the crystal glasses she only brought out once a year, the way she arranged the place cards like she was hosting a political fundraiser instead of a family dinner. I stood in the kitchen doorway, holding a bowl of mashed potatoes, watching my older sister, Rebecca, laugh at something one of her law firm colleagues had just said. She looked exactly the way my mom liked her to look. Perfect hair, tailored blazer even on a holiday, that effortless confidence that said, "I win at life." "Careful with that," my mom snapped at me as I stepped forward. "Don't spill it on the tablecloth." "I won't," I said quietly. She didn't hear me. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. Rebecca caught my eye and smiled, soft, apologetic. She always tried to be kind. That almost made it worse. We took our seats. My uncle poured wine. My cousin snapped photos for Instagram. Someone turned on soft jazz in the background. It looked like one of those glossy holiday commercials. Then my mom stood up. She tapped her wine glass with a fork, smiling brightly. "Before we eat," she said, "I just want to say how proud I am." Everyone quieted. Rebecca straightened slightly in her chair, embarrassed but glowing. "My eldest daughter," she continued, resting her hand on Rebecca's shoulder, "is now one of the most sought-after lawyers in the state, a partner before 35, featured in magazines. I mean, what more could a mother ask for?" Applause broke out around the table. Rebecca blushed. "Mom, stop." I clapped too. Of course I did. Then my mom's hand dropped. "And," she said, her smile tightening just a little, "I have 2 daughters." My stomach clenched. "One is a famous lawyer," she went on, "and the other, well, let's just say one works hard and the other prefers to wander." A few people shifted uncomfortably. "She's practically a beggar," she added lightly, waving her hand toward me like I was an afterthought, "still chasing little art gigs and freelance nonsense at 28. The word hung in the air. Beggar. I felt heat flood my face. My fork froze halfway to my plate. Someone chuckled awkwardly. My uncle cleared his throat. Rebecca's smile disappeared completely. "Mom," she said softly, but my mom kept going. "I mean, we can't all be successful. Some people just struggle to launch." I stared at the tablecloth. White linen, tiny embroidered leaves. I focused on that because if I looked up, I wasn't sure I'd survive the expressions on everyone's faces. "I'm not a beggar," I said quietly. She tilted her head. "Sweetheart, you're still borrowing money from me." The room went silent. "That was a loan," I replied, my voice shaking despite how hard I tried to steady it. She gave a dismissive little laugh. "A loan implies repayment." Rebecca pushed back her chair. "That's enough." But it wasn't enough. It was never enough. I felt something inside me crack. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a clean, quiet split, like ice breaking under pressure. I stood up slowly. "You didn't have to do that," I said. My mom looked genuinely confused. "Do what?" "Humiliate me." "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's Thanksgiving. We're just being honest." Honest. I looked around the table, at my cousins staring down at their plates, at my uncle pretending to adjust the thermostat, at Rebecca looking like she wanted to pull me out of there physically. I swallowed hard. "You know what's honest?" I said, my voice louder now. "I've never asked you to compare us." "I'm not comparing. I'm stating facts." "Your facts," I shot back. Her expression hardened. "Maybe if you'd chosen a real career instead of doodling in notebooks." "I run a design studio. It's small, but it's mine." "And how profitable is that?" she asked sweetly. There it was, the scoreboard, the only language she respected. Rebecca stood up fully now. "Mom, stop." My mom ignored her. "You had the same opportunities," she said to me. "Same schools, same support. One of you took it seriously, the other didn't." I laughed, but it came out broken. Support? The word tasted bitter. You paid Rebecca's law school tuition outright. You co-signed her apartment. You introduced her to your connections. That's because she showed potential, my mom snapped. And I didn't? She didn't answer right away. That silence told me everything. The room felt too small, the air too thin. I grabbed my coat from the back of my chair. "Where are you going?" she asked, irritation flashing across her face. "Outside," I said. "I need air." "Don't be childish," she replied, but I was already walking toward the door. Behind me, I heard Rebecca's heels clicking fast across the hardwood. "Wait," she called. I stepped onto the front porch, the cold November air hitting my face like a shock. My chest rose and fell too quickly. My hands were shaking. Rebecca joined me seconds later, wrapping her arms around her. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "For what?" "For her. For everything." I stared out at the dark street. Neighbors' houses glowed warmly. Somewhere, laughter drifted through an open window. "I'm not a beggar," I said again, but this time it sounded less certain. Rebecca touched my arm. "You're not." From inside, I could still hear my mom's voice, loud, animated, reframing the narrative already. "She's just sensitive," she was saying. "Always has been." Rebecca's grip tightened slightly. "Do you want to come to my place?" she asked softly. "You don't have to go back in there." I looked at the door. At the house I grew up in, at the woman who had just labeled me in front of everyone like I was something disposable. And before I could answer, the front door swung open behind us. My mom stepped out. Her expression wasn't angry anymore. It was calculating. "Since you're both out here," she said calmly, folding her arms, "maybe it's time we talk about something I haven't told you either of you yet." Rebecca and I exchanged a look. Something in my mom's tone made my stomach drop, and for the first time that night, I realized the word beggar might not have been the worst thing she planned to say. The cold hit harder now that she was standing in front of us. My mom closed the door behind her gently, like she didn't want the guests inside to hear what was about to be said. The porch light cast sharp shadows across her face, making her expression look almost unfamiliar. Rebecca stepped slightly in front of me without meaning to, protective, instinctive. "What haven't you told us?" Rebecca asked carefully. My mom looked from her to me and back again, measuring something. "I didn't plan to bring this up tonight," she said, smoothing an invisible wrinkle from her sleeve. "But since we're airing grievances..." My heart started pounding again. "Spit it out," I said, before I could stop myself. Her eyes flicked to mine, cool and appraising. "You always were impatient." "Mom," Rebecca warned softly. She ignored her. "When your father and I updated our estate plan last year," she began, her voice calm and controlled, "we made some strategic decisions." Estate plan. The word landed like a brick. Rebecca stiffened. "What kind of decisions?" Mom's gaze rested on me this time. "Decisions based on responsibility," she said, "on stability, on who can be trusted to manage significant assets." I felt a hollow feeling open up in my chest. "You cut me out." She didn't deny it. "I wouldn't say cut out," she replied smoothly. "You're still provided for." "Provided for?" I echoed. "A modest trust, structured payments, enough to keep you comfortable, assuming you don't make reckless choices." Rebecca's head snapped toward her. "Are you serious right now?" Mom's jaw tightened. "This is practical. Rebecca understands the value of long-term planning." "And I don't," I shot back. She let out a small breath through her nose. "You live paycheck to paycheck." "I'm building something," I said, my voice shaking. "You never even asked what my business is worth." "Because I've seen the numbers," she said quietly. That stopped me. "What numbers?" I asked. She hesitated just long enough for my stomach to twist. "You think I don't pay attention?" she asked. "You filed certain paperwork using this address. I review what comes into my house." Heat flooded my face. "You went through my mail?" She didn't answer directly. "I protect my interests." Rebecca stepped forward now, anger finally breaking through her composure. "That's insane. You don't get to monitor her life because you disapprove of it." Mom turned sharply toward her. "You think this is about disapproval? This is about safeguarding what your father and I built." So you made her a charity case? Rebecca demanded. No, Mom said, her voice dropping lower. I made sure she wouldn't destroy herself with it. The word destroy echoed in my ears. I felt like I was standing outside my body, watching this conversation happen to someone else. You decided I'm incapable, so you structured my future like I'm a liability. You've proven you're not consistent. That's not proof, that's your bias. Inside the house, someone laughed loudly at something. The normalcy of it felt surreal. Rebecca turned to me. Did you know about any of this? I shook my head. Mom folded her arms tighter. You would have known eventually, but you're reacting emotionally right now. That's exactly why we made the choices we did. Stop talking about me like I'm not standing here, I said. You are standing here, she shot back. On the porch, again. The implication hung between us. Rebecca's voice was ice cold now. You called her a beggar in front of everyone. It was a metaphor, Mom snapped. It was cruel, Rebecca said. Mom looked at her sharply. Careful. For what? Rebecca challenged. Mom's expression shifted again. Not angry, not defensive, strategic. You think your position is permanent? Rebecca asked quietly. Law firms are fragile ecosystems. Partnerships shift. Reputations can be influenced. Rebecca went still. I saw it happen, the flicker of calculation, the recognition that our mother didn't just speak emotionally, she moved pieces. Are you threatening me? She asked, barely above a whisper. I'm reminding you, Mom replied, that everything we have is interconnected. My heart thudded painfully against my ribs. So that's it. You pit us against each other and call it protection. I'm ensuring survival. For who? I demanded. She didn't answer. The wind picked up, lifting strands of my hair across my face. The porch light flickered again. Rebecca looked at me, something raw and unsettled in her eyes. What exactly does this estate plan say? She asked our mother. She hesitated, and that hesitation scared me more than anything she'd said all night. It says, she replied slowly, that leadership passes to the daughter who demonstrates discipline. My breath caught. Leadership of what? I asked. She looked at me steadily. Everything. The word echoed in the space between us. Rebecca and I exchanged a look that felt heavier than the entire dinner inside. Because suddenly, this wasn't just about Thanksgiving. It wasn't even just about money. It was about control, legacy, power. And the way my mom was watching us now, like she was waiting to see which daughter would break first. The word everything didn't fade. It stayed there, thick and suffocating, like smoke you couldn't clear out of your lungs. Rebecca's hand slowly dropped from my arm. Define everything, she said carefully. Mom studied her for a long second before answering. The properties, the investment accounts, the business holdings, the foundation, all of it. I blanked. What business holdings? My mom's lips pressed together, like she'd revealed more than she meant to. Rebecca's voice sharpened. What business holdings, Mom? You don't need every detail right now, she replied smoothly. What matters is structure, continuity. Continuity of what? I asked. Control? Her gaze flicked back to me. Responsibility. I felt that familiar burn behind my eyes, but this time it wasn't just humiliation, it was anger. Clean, cold. You decided I'm unfit without ever asking me what I've built. I've watched you drift, she replied. I didn't drift, I struggled. There's a difference. Rebecca stepped forward again. And you're rewarding me for being compliant? Mom's expression hardened slightly. You've made strategic choices. And she hasn't? Rebecca pressed. Mom didn't respond. That silence was louder than any insult. A car drove past slowly, headlights washing over the three of us. For a second, I saw our shadows stretch across the lawn, 3 women standing in a line that didn't feel like family at all. You called me a beggar, I said quietly, but you structured my future like one. Mom's jaw tightened. If the word offended you, perhaps consider the behavior. Behavior, I repeated. You mean choosing something you don't understand? I mean instability, she said sharply. Rebecca's voice cut in, low and dangerous. "You mean independence." Mom's eyes snapped toward her. "Careful, Rebecca." "Or what?" she asked. That question lingered. For a moment, my mom didn't speak. She just looked at both of us, assessing, recalculating. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "The estate isn't finalized." Rebecca went still. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means," she continued evenly, "that certain conditions still apply." "What conditions?" Rebecca demanded. Mom's gaze rested on me again. "Performance, stability, evidence of sustained success." It felt like I was being evaluated for a job I never applied for. "You're turning our lives into a competition," I said. "I'm ensuring that what my father and I built doesn't collapse because of emotional decisions," she replied. "Whose emotional decisions?" Rebecca challenged. Mom ignored her and addressed me directly. "You've always been talented," she said, almost softly now, "but talent without discipline leads to chaos. I won't fund chaos." I stared at her. "I never asked you to fund me." "But you have, repeatedly." The loan, the paperwork, the mail. I suddenly understood something that made my chest tighten. "You've been tracking me," she replied. "I've been monitoring risk," she corrected. Rebecca looked between us, stunned. "That's not parenting, that's surveillance." Mom's eyes flickered, just slightly. "Not guilt, not quite." "You both think this is about favoritism. It isn't." "Then what is it about?" I asked. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "It's about who can handle the truth." The wind picked up again, colder now. "What truth?" Rebecca whispered. Mom's expression changed, subtle but real. For the first time tonight, she didn't look confident. She looked cautious. "There are things," she said slowly, "about how this family was built, about what your father did to secure our position, about who signed what." My heart skipped. "And you think I can't handle that?" I asked. "I think," she said, meeting my eyes directly, "you don't know what you're standing on." The front door opened again briefly as laughter spilled out, then shut. The world inside was still celebrating. Out here, something else was unraveling. Rebecca's voice was barely audible now. "What did Dad sign?" Mom didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone. "You want transparency?" she said quietly. "Be careful what you ask for." She tapped the screen once. My phone buzzed in my hand. Rebecca's buzzed too. We both looked down at the same time. An email. Subject line, "Draft Amendment, Conditional Succession." My pulse pounded in my ears. Mom watched us, unreadable. "I suggest," she said calmly, "you read it very carefully." And as my thumb hovered over the screen, I realized whatever was inside that document wasn't just about money. It was about which one of us she believed deserved to exist inside this family at all. My thumb hovered over the email for a full 5 seconds before I opened it. The porch felt colder, quieter, like even the air was waiting. Rebecca opened hers at the same time. I could hear her breathing shift as she scrolled. I forced myself to read. Legal language, structured clauses, conditional distribution, performance metrics, oversight authority. And then I saw it. A clause that froze my blood. In the event of reputational risk, public scandal, or financial instability caused by either daughter, controlling interest will be consolidated under the remaining successor. I looked up slowly. "You made us leverage against each other," I said. Mom didn't flinch. "I created accountability." "You created a trap," Rebecca whispered. I kept reading. "Primary oversight retained by maternal trustee until full transition of power." Maternal trustee? "You're not giving up control at all," I said, my voice hollow. "You just made us fight for the illusion of it." Mom's expression shifted. Barely, but enough. "This is how legacy works," she said quietly. "It requires pressure." Rebecca's hand was shaking now. "So if I fail, she wins. If she fails, I win." Mom didn't deny it. "And if we both walk away?" I asked. That made her pause. For the first time tonight, she didn't have an immediate answer. Inside the house, someone started clinking glasses again, probably wondering where we'd gone, probably assuming everything was fine. I looked at my sister. For years, I thought she was the golden child, the chosen one, the benchmark I was measured against. Now I saw it differently. She wasn't chosen, she was positioned, just like me. "You really think this makes us stronger?" Rebecca asked her mother. "It makes you sharp," Mom replied. "It makes us paranoid," I said. The wind blew harder, lifting my hair across my face. I didn't brush it away. "You called me a beggar," I said slowly, "but you're the one bargaining with your own daughters." Her jaw tightened. "Watch your tone." "No," I said, and this time my voice didn't shake. "You watch yours." Rebecca stepped closer to me, shoulder brushing mine. For the first time all night, we weren't opposite sides of a comparison. We were standing together. "You humiliated her," Rebecca said firmly, "and you manipulated me." Mom looked between us, calculating. "You're emotional," she said. "This is why structure is necessary." "No," Rebecca replied. "This is why control is comfortable for you." That one landed. Mom's eyes hardened. "Everything I've done has been to protect this family." "From what?" I asked. She didn't answer, because the truth was obvious. From losing power, from losing image, from losing the narrative she'd built about success and worth. I took a slow breath. "I'm not a beggar," I said again, but this time I didn't need her to agree. Rebecca squeezed my hand. "And I'm not your weapon," she added. Mom stared at us like she was trying to solve a puzzle that suddenly stopped following her rules. "You'll regret making emotional decisions," she said. "Maybe, but at least they'll be ours." The front door opened again, my dad stepping out now, confused and slightly annoyed. "What's going on?" he asked. Mom didn't answer him. She was still looking at us. Me, her beggar, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small under her gaze. I felt clear. Rebecca looked down at the email one last time, then back at her mother. "You know what the worst part is?" she said quietly. Mom said nothing. "You never asked what we wanted." Silence stretched between us, long, heavy. Then my dad spoke again, sharper this time. "Are we coming back inside or not?" I looked at the house, the warm lights, the laughter, the illusion of perfection. Then I looked at my sister. She nodded slightly. Not submission, solidarity. I turned back to my mom. "You can keep your conditions and your scorecards." Rebecca inhaled slowly beside me. "And we'll keep our lives." For a second, something flickered in my mom's eyes. Not anger, not control, fear. The kind that comes when power stops working. We didn't wait for permission. Rebecca and I stepped off the porch together. Behind us, I heard my dad asking questions. I heard my mom's voice trying to regain steadiness. But for the first time, I wasn't walking away in humiliation. I wasn't leaving as the beggar. I was leaving as a daughter who finally understood the game and chose